My father was not rich, but I promise one day I will be successful. Introduction, let me tell you something straight from the heart. It's not about where you start. It's about the decision you make right now. The decision to rise, to grow, to push past every excuse and limitation that was handed to you. My father wasn't rich. He didn't leave me a fortune, a business empire, or a silver spoon. What he gave me was more powerful than that. He gave me a reason to rise, a reason to fight, a reason to become more than the struggle I was born into. You see, life isn't fair, but life doesn't care where you came from. Life responds to those who take responsibility, who choose power over pity, action over excuses, vision over circumstance. And I made a promise, not just to my father, but to myself. I will succeed. Not for the money, not for the status, but because I refuse to be a prisoner of my past. This is about legacy. It's about breaking the cycle. It's about becoming the person your bloodline has been waiting for. So if you're starting with nothing, if your back is against the wall, then congratulations. You're exactly where transformation begins. You don't need to be born rich. You just need to be born ready to rise. And today that rise begins. Your past is not your identity. It is not a life sentence. It is not the final word on who you are or what you're capable of. The moment you realize that your future is not locked inside the boundaries of your past, everything changes. The day you decide that your story does not have to repeat itself, that your father's struggle, your family's lack, your history of pain, none of it has to define who you become, that is the day your power is born. Life doesn't care about your background. Success doesn't check your resume for where you came from. What shapes your life is not your circumstances, but your decisions. Every single breakthrough, every transformation, every story of someone rising from the bottom. It starts with a decision. You have to stop believing that where you start controls where you finish. That's a lie. It's the lie that keeps people small. It's the lie that says you're a victim of your story instead of the author of a new one. People will try to remind you of your limitations, of your failures, of the family you came from. They'll say, people like us don't make it, or you should be realistic. But realistic never changed the world. Realistic never broke a cycle. What breaks the cycle is the decision to stop living in the shadow of your history and step into the light of your future. You get to decide what happens next, not your past. Not your pain, not your poverty, not your family name, you. Every day, you're making decisions that either repeat the past or create the future. It's in the small choices, the daily habits, the standards you hold yourself to, the goals you commit to, and the thoughts you feed your mind. You don't rise because of chance. You rise because you choose not to settle. You choose to believe that you are capable of more, that your life has meaning, that your future is worth fighting for. So many people wait for the right conditions to change their life. They say, I'll start when I have more money. I'll believe when someone supports me. I'll grow when things calm down. But the conditions will never be perfect. Waiting is just another form of fear. The most powerful people you admire didn't wait. They decided. They made a decision that no matter how broken the beginning, the ending would be different. They looked at their life and said, this ends with me. The fear ends here. The excuses stop now. You don't need a perfect past to build a powerful future. You just need a decision backed by action, repeated daily with relentless belief. It's not about what was done to you. It's about what you decide to do now. Because every day you're writing a new chapter. The only question is, who is holding the pen, your past or your power? So decide. Decide that you will be more than what you've seen. More than what you were told, more than the environment you came from. Decide that you're not going to let the past dictate the next 20 years of your life. Decide to grow, to change, to rise, to lead. Because the most important truth you'll ever realize is this: your past does not define your future. Your decisions do. And the most life-changing decision you will ever make is to stop looking backward and start building forward. That's when everything changes. That's when your story begins. Pain is universal. Everyone experiences it, some from the day they're born. It could be the pain of growing up without enough, the pain of losing someone you love, the pain of rejection, of failure, of feeling invisible. And while the world teaches you to avoid pain, to resent it, to bury it and run the other way, the truth is this: pain is power if you use it. Pain is not the thing that holds you back. It becomes the fuel that propels you forward when you stop making it your excuse and start turning it into your reason. Look at the people who have built the most powerful lives. They weren't born into perfect conditions. They weren't immune to adversity. What they did was different. They learned how to take their pain and convert it into purpose. They didn't sit in their suffering and wait to be rescued. They made a decision that their pain wasn't going to define them. It was going to refine them. The challenge is that pain whispers lies. It tells you you're not enough. It tells you you've failed too much, that no one understands, that you'll never escape what hurt you. And many people believe those lies. They use pain as the reason they can't. I was abandoned. I was hurt. I failed before. But pain isn't the reason you can't. It's the reason you must. It's the fire that burns away weakness, hesitation, self-doubt. It forces you to dig deep, to grow, to rise in ways comfort never could. When you use pain as fuel, something inside you wakes up. You stop asking why it happened, and you start asking what you're going to do with it. That's where real strength is born. You don't wait for life to be fair. You make life fair by becoming stronger than what tried to break you. You decide that your pain won't be the reason you quit. It will be the reason you fight harder, go deeper, rise faster. Everyone has pain. The only difference between people who stay stuck and people who break through is what they do with it. So if you're carrying pain right now, don't numb it, don't run from it, use it. Let it become the reason you rise, not the excuse you fall back on. Let it shape your story into one of power, not pity, because pain, when harnessed, is the raw material of greatness. A clear vision is not a luxury, it's a necessity. Without it, you're drifting. You wake up each day reacting to life instead of creating it. You move without direction, get lost in distractions, and settle for far less than you're capable of. But when you have a vision that is so crystal clear in your mind, so emotionally charged in your heart, it becomes impossible to live beneath your potential. Your vision becomes the reason you get up early, the reason you push through failure, the reason you keep moving forward even when life hits you hard. It's not just a picture of what you want. It's a pull, a force, a magnet drawing you toward a future you refuse to give up on. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they lack vision. They don't know where they're going, so they settle for whatever shows up. They let life lead them instead of leading their life. But those who rise, those who build, those who become something greater, they see it before anyone else does. They carry it in their mind when there's no evidence. They talk about it like it already exists. They commit to it not casually but completely. And because their vision is so clear, setbacks don't stop them. People's opinions don't slow them down. Temporary failure doesn't make them quit. Why? Because they're not moving based on what they see in front of them. They're moving based on what they've already seen in their mind. A powerful vision gives your struggle meaning. It makes your sacrifices worth it. When the pain comes, and it will, it doesn't shake you because you're focused on what's coming, not what's happening. That vision becomes your compass. It tells you what to say yes to and what to say no to. It gives you discipline. It keeps you hungry. It keeps you grounded when you feel overwhelmed. And it reminds you who you are when the world tries to make you forget. You have to see your future so clearly that it becomes real in your spirit before it ever shows up in your reality. That's what separates those who make it from those who wish. Wishes are vague, visions are specific. Wishes are passive, visions are active. When you live with vision, you don't need to be pushed, you're pulled. You don't wake up hoping to feel motivated. You wake up knowing exactly what you're after, and nothing can stop you. If you don't define your future, someone else will. If you don't decide where you're going, you'll get caught in the noise of the world, chasing distractions, chasing approval, chasing safety. But when your vision is bigger than your fear, nothing can hold you back. Not your past, not your pain, not your doubts. And even when no one believes in you, even when the results aren't visible yet, you'll still move with purpose, because you've already seen the outcome in your mind. You've already lived it, you've already claimed it, This is why your vision must be clear, because life will try to shake you, storms will come, people will doubt you, but if your vision is real, if it's rooted deep in your soul, you will rise through anything. You'll walk through fire for it, and that's how legacies are built. Not by those who had the easiest path, but by those who had the clearest vision and the strength to keep moving toward it, no matter what stood in the way. Success is not something you inherit, it's something you create. It's not about where you come from, who your parents were, or what kind of opportunities were handed to you. It's about the hunger you build inside. It's about the discipline you develop, the mindset you sharpen, and the belief you cultivate when everything around you tells you it's impossible. Some people are born with money, others are born with grit, and in the long run, grit wins every time, because what you build with your own hands can never be taken from you. You don't need connections to be great. You don't need someone to open the door for you. You need to decide you're going to kick that door down if you have to. You need to stop looking outside of yourself for permission and start digging deep to find what's already inside you. When you lack resources, you're forced to become resourceful. When you don't have a way, you create one. That's how winners are made, not through comfort, but through pressure. Discipline is the bridge between dreams and results. It's doing what must be done even when you don't feel like it. It's choosing growth over comfort, commitment over excuses, and belief. Belief is the foundation. You must believe you are capable, even before you have proof. You must believe in the value of your journey and the vision of who you are becoming. Because if you don't believe in you, why would anyone else? The truth is, nobody is coming to save you. No one's going to hand you success. But that's not something to be afraid of. That's something to get excited about, because it means your future is in your hands. It means the story you write from here is completely up to you. You may not have inherited wealth, but you can build it. You may not have been born with opportunity, but you can create it. That's real power. The kind of power that comes from hunger, discipline, and belief. The kind of power that no one can take away. Promises are powerful. They're not just words you speak. They're commitments you carve into your identity. When you promise yourself something, it should carry more weight than any excuse, any delay, or any fear. The promise you make to yourself to be successful, to rise, to break the cycle, to become more than your circumstances. That is sacred. And yet, most people treat their promises to themselves as optional. They say, "I'll do it," and then break their own word. But here's the truth. When you break promises to yourself, you break trust with yourself. And if you can't trust yourself, how can you expect to succeed? There's a shift that happens when you start holding yourself accountable at the highest level. You stop needing motivation. You stop waiting for someone to check on you or validate you. You stop relying on external forces to push you. Because now your fuel isn't hype, it's integrity. You know you said you would do it, and that's enough. That's power. That's maturity. That's the mindset of someone who's going to win. You've got to get to the place where your promise is not just about achieving a goal. It's about becoming the kind of person who follows through no matter what. Because the world is full of people who talk big but move small. They say they want success, but when it's time to put in the work, they disappear. When things get hard, they fold, but not you. You've made a promise, and if you keep that promise, especially when it's uncomfortable, inconvenient, and exhausting, you will build something unshakable within yourself. Every action you take either brings you closer to your promise or further away from it. Every choice you make reflects who's in control, your purpose or your excuses. If you promise yourself that one day you'll be successful, then your decisions today must reflect that future. You can't live like everyone else and expect different results. You can't break your word and still expect to feel powerful. Power comes from alignment, from knowing that your thoughts, your words, and your actions are all moving in the same direction. The most important person you'll ever keep a promise to is you. Not your friends, not your boss, not even your family. Because if you can't honor your word to yourself, you will never build the foundation of self-respect and personal power you need to achieve anything meaningful. Your promise is your standard. It's the line in the sand. It's you saying, no matter what comes, I'm not quitting on myself. I'm not lowering my expectations. I'm not backing down. So ask yourself, what have you promised yourself? Have you promised that you'll succeed, that you'll build something better, that you'll break free from the patterns that held you back, then start living like it? Let your daily actions scream that promise louder than any words ever could. Wake up and grind when you don't feel like it. Say no to distractions. Say yes to discipline. Train your mind to stay locked in on the outcome you've committed to. Success is not just about ambition. It's about integrity. It's about doing what you said you'd do long after the mood you said it in has faded. That's what separates the dreamers from the doers. That's what builds legacy. That's how you go from making a promise to living a promise. And when you live like that, when your actions reflect your word, nothing can stop you, because now success is not a wish. It's a commitment written in your soul. Your story is not limited by your past. It's empowered by your decision to rise above it. Your father may not have been rich. You may not have had the support, the resources, or the perfect environment to thrive. But none of that can stop a person who is committed to rewriting their future. You have a choice. You can use your pain as a prison or as your power. You can allow doubt to silence you or let discipline drive you. You can keep comparing, blaming, and waiting. Or you can decide right now to take full responsibility for your life. This journey will not be easy. There will be setbacks, failures, and days when nothing makes sense. But if your vision is strong, if your hunger is real, and if your promise to yourself is unshakable, nothing can stop you. Not the past, not the opinions of others, not the limitations the world tries to put on you. You were not born to repeat the cycle. You were born to break it. You were not meant to survive. You were meant to lead, to grow, to succeed beyond anything your family has ever seen. So carry your story with pride, not shame. Let it remind you where you came from, but never let it decide where you're going. That is your job. That is your power. From zero to success is not a fantasy. It's a decision backed by relentless action, and it begins the moment you stop saying one day and start saying day one. That moment is now. Your future is waiting. Go earn it.